Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. This is Kathy. I'd like to welcome all of you to live trading the US inflation report. Let me just give me a second. Let me share my screen. If you can see my screen, see me, and you can hear my voice, please say hello and let me know that everything is working properly. I'm not hearing from everyone, and also tell me where you're coming in from. I always love to hear where everyone's dialing in from. It looks like to me the audio is working fine, the video is looking fine. So there could be a little bit of a delay, but it looks like everything is streaming fine on my end. All right. Thank you so much, Miguel. Thank you so much, Jason, Greg, Shagar, Ishmael. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Okay. So what is going on back here? That's my running belt. Okay. So all corners of the world, wonderful. Captions. I unfortunately do not know how to turn on captions while I'm speaking, but I know that you can turn on captions when you are watching the replay. So sorry about that. So anyway, let's just get right into it because we really just have about 14 minutes left until the US inflation report. Now, typically Boris is the one who live trades with you these big events. I will come in reactively because when I live trade or when I trade, it's usually, the opportunity is there, we grab our pips and we go. There's no waiting around to see if there's more opportunity afterwards. But we'll see what the market gives us. And it's important that before we get into it to talk about the dynamics that are happening right now. So if you're looking at my euro dollar chart, you can see that the dollar is lower against the euro, but it is higher against the Japanese yen. Marginally so, not significantly, but still kind of higher against the Japanese yen. So all of this tells me that the dollar in a nutshell is mixed and uncertain going into the inflation report. And there is quite a bit of uncertainty because we know that CPI will probably end up being softer. But the real question here, and what I'm gathering from the price action in the markets is, will the market really care? Will the market really care if we have a strong or weak number? Because we have this report and we have next month's report, which is released on September 11th, that will be out before the Federal Reserve meets. So when it comes to inflation, the question really is how all of this matters to the Federal Reserve. And with another inflation report, another non-farm payrolls report on the calendar before the US Federal Reserve meets, investors may have a reaction. What I think is the investors will have a reaction, and then there may be a counter reaction where it's kind of, sell the rumor, buy the news, or buy the rumor, sell the news. So in that case, how do we trade it? And, all of you are asking me questions about gold. I am only going to trade Forex today. Boris live trades gold. He is not in this week. Hopefully he'll be back with us next week. So I'm going to do what I always do, which is we're going to be trading currencies. And of course, we're going to be trading the majors because that's really what's going to be in play. So normally I prefer to trade what we call reactively, which means that we get into the trade after the number is released. But what I fear this time around is that because the market's already discounted a weaker number, because the market has already considered that PPI was weaker, the market has already considered that oil prices, if you join me for Monday, my Monday market outlook, where I predicted the Kiwi selling off after RBNZ, I predicted the UK jobs numbers being strong. You can go back and watch that. It's a very, very valuable session. I also showed you that this chart at the time, which is where I showed you, and just ignore all my lines, but where I showed you basically oil prices started the month here, they ended the month here. So oil prices is an important indicator into inflation. So just looking at this, where it started here and ended here, what does it suggest to you that inflation could do? It suggests to you that inflation could be weaker. So what are we going to do? Well, my knee-jerk bias would, of course, be to sell dollar yen, because, dollar yen is the quintessential dollar risk on risk off trade. But it's not the one I'm going to be picking, because dollar yen is rallying. Dollar Swiss is also rallying going into the inflation report. So I would have to say that it's really euro. And if we look at euro has been unequivocally strong, and euro is trading at its strongest level in this year, basically. And I think dollar yen could work too, and dollar yen could move pretty quickly. But I would have to say, 9 minutes into the release, there are two ways to trade the inflation report. It's basically proactively and reactively. And proactively, I think that there is an opportunity here, because I fear the markets could be selling dollars before right after the release and buying it afterwards, but small positions. So I would sell dollar yen small 147.01, and then buy euro dollar 110.23, and I would say a 25 pip stop, and then 20 pip target, slightly negative. You can even use a 20 pip stop, but you might need, I think it's fine. 20 pip 1-to-1 is probably good. So we're looking initially at, I'll put this right out here. We're looking initially at, let me actually have this over here, buying euro dollar and selling dollar yen. Now, when we trade proactively, you have to be really careful. I would choose, one of these positions if you are, I would choose one of these positions if you're new, because the idea here is that I believe that US inflation is going to be weaker, because if you look at the PPI report, of course, you look at how the market reacted to PPI yesterday. You can see PPI came in much weaker than expected, 0.1%. Corporate PPI came in 0%. And you saw this oil chart that I showed you. So producer prices were lower. Oil prices fell sharply in the month of July. So all of that tells me that the US inflation report, and we should look at the expectations by economists. They are looking for the headline number to accelerate, to drop from minus 0.1% to grow by 0.2%. So they're expecting inflationary pressures to accelerate. They expect core inflationary pressures to accelerate as well. So they expect, price pressures that to be stronger, even though it seems like PPI is telling us it should be weaker. Oil prices are telling us it should be weaker. So I believe that there is an initial opportunity to sell dollars. That may just be like a knee-jerk reaction. We won't want to be greedy with this, because for those of you that are just joining me right now, we had gotten short dollar yen small, because with these news trades, you're either right and your target is hit, or you're wrong and you're out. So we went short on 147.01. We went long euro dollar at 110.23. And so we had 20 pip stop, 20 pip target. And then we'll look for opportunities after the data. So we have to tread cautiously ahead of that, because I lost my train of thought, but what I was trying to say is that I fear that we'll have a knee-jerk reaction, because so much expectations is built into the inflation report. So I fear that we're going to knee-jerk reaction after the inflation report. And then everyone's going to be like, okay, the big number of the week is done. And so if the big number of the week is done, we still have one more non-farm payrolls report, one more inflation report before the September Federal Reserve meeting. So let's, just wait and see. And, maybe the next couple of reports may not be so bad, or they may think that, let's, square up the books and go on vacation because we're in the doldrums of August in Europe. It's summer. We're heading into Labor Day. And so we've already had, a breakout in Eurodollar. And so there might be a little bit of unwind. And that's what I fear. I fear that we may just have a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction. Also, I could be wrong. And, that's why I suggest pick the Eurodollar, pick the dollar yen, only take one trade and see, which one works for you. Because I'm just putting the trade into my BK room. See which one works for you. And then we'll look for opportunities to trade it reactively. So I'm looking, I think long Eurodollar is interesting because it's the one that's moving it's the strongest against the US dollar. And then short dollar yen, it's just the natural, it's going to move regardless. But let's be careful, usually when I live trade news with you, I usually live trade reactively. But I think, and I could be wrong, I think that they're going to have a reaction, and then it may be the classic buy the rumor, sell the news type of movement, because everyone's going to sit back and say, okay, this has already been priced in, and we'll see what happens. Now, some of you asking me, Bloomberg thinks CPI is going to be slightly higher. What do you think about that? Yeah, I mean, they're basically pointing to these expectations. They're pointing to the fact that the inflation rate expectation is expected to be 0.2% against minus 1.0% expected. And they're pointing to core rate being stronger. But we saw a PPI that was weaker. We saw oil prices that was weaker. So I think the risk is certainly to the downside of the report. We could be wrong, and we'll look for a trade afterwards. How could gold move? I know, we've got about 3 minutes to report. All of you are asking this. Gold is obviously at the upper right-hand corner of the chart. It's at, pretty much its highest levels ever. So given that, where's resistance? How much more can it go? Well, if we have a dollar negative number, that's certainly positive for gold, right? And 2,500 is the natural resistance level for gold. If we have a weaker number, that could send, gold lower. If we have a weaker number, that's higher for gold. If we have a stronger number, that is good for gold. But if we think about what I said that we could be in the classic buy or sell the rumor in this case, and buy look, dollar yen's already plus 10. So I think, we already made about 10 pips on this trade. I'm going to square this up. We're going to focus on euro. You can stay in with a break-even stop if you would like. But, as I said, there could be a little bit of an opportunity proactively, and we're just kind of scalping the move here. And with trading news, if you want to trade proactively, for those of you just joining us, you came in late. You should have came in at 8:15. We're trading proactively. I'm closing at 86, all right? We're just going to be exposed to Eurodollar. So we closed dollar yen at 146.86. We went short at 147.01. Quick movement here. We're long the Eurodollar. We may get back into dollar yen if the data is soft. And what am I trying to say? The other point that I want to make is that we're going to be looking for opportunities reactively. We may be patient with some of the flow, and let's just see. Also, I want to say that if you were in for profit and you sold the trade with me in dollar yen, you could also go to break even and see if you want to ride the move for a bigger move lower. That could be a good idea as well. So we are just seconds away from the US inflation report. We'll see it in the price action before we actually see it in the headline. So let's give it a second and let's see what the number comes out at. So let's see. Oh, it's a weak number. So dollar yen, if you were in that trade, you got your pips, euro dollar 31. We're also going to close this for oh, actually no, it's keeping going. There's another movement here. What dollar euro dollar resistance is at 110.35. Dollar yen, you see this, okay? I would take, it's moving lower. We have a little bit more movement lower. We're still long euro dollar. I would move the euro dollar stop to break even. I would close it at 110.33 for another plus 10 here, and then we're going to regroup and look for our trades. Close euro dollar at 110.33. See what's happening, guys? Exactly what I told you. I told you we're going to have a knee-jerk reaction followed by potential move reversal. So dollar yen now 146.89. Okay, maybe it's selling a little bit here. I'm looking at the numbers. The headline number is pretty much in line with expectations. The number wasn't terrible. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers right now. Just look at News Squawk on the right hand side of my screen. It says that core CPI month over month 0.2%, year over year 3.2%. Year over year numbers are lower, monthly numbers are in line. So I'm going to refresh this just to see, and I don't know where it went, but you know, basically the numbers were not terrible. The monthly, all right, this is not going to give me what I want. All right, let's go to Forex Factory. Okay, but we saw it earlier. So here, dollar, the number was pretty much in line with expectations. Yes, I do think there's upside opportunity. 147.1209. I think we should have flipped quicker, but I think, you know, there could be an upside. 09 is a good place to get in. And we'll review this in a second. You have to be really careful. Stop 20, target 20. We went long at 147.09. And I'm going to talk through our game plan. Part of the reason why our trades worked is because we had a game plan. All right, we're ready. And our target's already hit. I mean, we went long at 147.09, stop 20, target 20, and we are already at 147.38. So we got a full 20 pips here on this trade already. Okay, what do we do? All right, we calmly bought euro dollars. We calmly bought euro dollars before the report. We calmly sold dollar yen before the report. And for those of you that joins me on time at 8:15, and there's a reason why I set it up at 8:15, because there was an opportunity to lay on our trades proactively, and there's opportunities to lay on our trades reactively. So we calmly laid on our dollar yen long trades, sorry, dollar yen short trades, our euro dollar long trades. We talked through the plan. I talked exactly about how I fear, and I even told those of you that came in late, I repeated what I said. My fear was that we would have the classic sell the rumor, buy the news reaction. And what happened? We have the classic sell the rumor, buy the news reaction. This is my zip chart that you're looking at. We went from being being in the sell zone below the indicator line. That means that we're below the indicator line. The background is red. Back into the buy zone. Now it's trying to form a zip buy candle. Okay, it's trying to form a zip buy candle. And I just want to look at euro dollar is still in the buy zone. Aussie dollar is slipping. Kiwi is moving quite lower. Dollar CAD is starting to squeeze higher. We're going to turn to our 5-minute charts in a second. So we had a plan to trade proactively, and that was our leisurely plan. Then we came in reactively instantly, and I said, let's switch and flip and buy dollar yen. So now the question is, do we have more to go? I think so. I think euro dollar is still selling 110.10 or 11 is a good opportunity. But there's 3 ways to trade news. And I'm going to pop in, if you take my fundamentals course, I outline some of the 3 ways to trade news, which is 1, proactively, and I talk about what data precedes what data as a leading indicator. And we went through the exercise this morning, talked about how producer prices is a leading indicator for CPI. I talked about how oil prices is a leading indicator for inflation. So in the fundamental news course, we talk about that. But there's 3 ways to trade news. One is proactively. And the great thing about proactively is that it's instant gratification. You're either right and your target is hit, or you're wrong and you're stopped out. In this case, we were right. The market was so focused on looking for a little bit of bad news that as soon as the number came out, dollar yen dropped quite a bit and ended up hitting our proactive target. The second way is what I call reactively. And there are multiple ways to trade news reactively. The first one is to jump right in, get into the trade, which is not really the way I advise it, which is kind of the reason why you see my 5-minute chart here. It's not, I mean, it's the way I do all the time when I live trade, because I understand that there's momentum, but we also had a very clear plan. And the plan was that, you know, if we have a weak number, it was going to be sell the rumor, buy the news. And this was even compounded by the fact, okay, I would look at, it was even compounded by the fact that the data really wasn't that bad, right? The data, if you look here, the headline number was pretty much in line with expectations. And the only part that was weaker was the year-over-year number. And obviously that is quite bad. I mean, it went down from 3% to 2.9%, which is the lowest that we've seen, I think, pretty much since over here. So it's the lowest that we've seen in a long time. Then the third way, so we did the proactive trade, we did the reactive trade. The third way is the one that we have to be patient in. The third way, we have 2 options, okay? It's called the first option is what I call the news candle break, and we can watch that in dollar yen, and we can watch that in euro dollar. So the news candle break is when we break the 5-minute news candle, high or low. We're kind of far away from that right now, right? I mean, we would have to drop all the way below here, 110 in euro dollar, or all the way above 110.35. This is the news candle high or low. And in dollar yen, that would require us to break above this or below this, which is also really, really far away. So this part requires patience. Now you can look at some of the other trades that maybe are a little closer, but honestly, they're not so much closer. Dollar CAD over here. And, you know, we've got to mark our levels and then wait and see. Now, usually when Boris is with me with live trading, I'm done. You know, I made, we made 16 pips. So 15 pips in dollar yen, 10 pips in euro dollar, so that's 25 plus another 20 pips in dollar yen again, 45 pips. And I'm usually quite happy with that. So usually I'm done with the live trade. We flip over to Boris, who then looks at opportunities in gold and NASDAQ. Now, we don't have Boris with us this morning, but, you know, he will be back. And for those of you that are trading futures, Apex, our prop trading partner, today is the last day that they have their 80% discount, so definitely lock it in because it's 80% off for the challenge, as well as the initial fee, as well as the reoccurring fee. So make sure you lock that in. But now it's time to wait. It's time to wait for the news candle break. My bias is going to be to the downside, selling, you know, euro dollar at 110.16. That is definitely my bias, and I think it's going to test the bottom of the range. So if I had to lean one way, I would say, and I'm actually going to do a soft call, sell euro dollar 110.16. I'm going to have a 20 pip emergency stop 20 pip target on this. I'm not gonna, if it goes to 30, I'm definitely going to be out because we're going to be, you know, above this high over here. So you can even, and a lot of, you know, experts talk about emergency stop as well as original stop. So we're having a soft call probative trade to sell euro dollar at 110.16. But the real disciplined news trade would be to wait for it to break this level, or to wait for it to break this level. Now, it may or may not do that. It may take hours to do that. It may take longer than my patience to do this. So, you know, we'll have to see. But we'll wait for a few, we'll wait and see what happens with this, with the bias to the downside for the euro dollar. Okay, I'm looking at questions. A couple of things I want to show you. First off, for my US traders, the time to register for the contest is almost over. Gelber Group, which is established in 1982, it's established by, if you click on About, by Brian Gelber, who was featured. He's one of the market wizards, you know, so a person who's got a long history in the trading industry that's very, very respected. Real offices in Chicago and New York, been around for a very long time. They are looking for good traders. They believe what I believe, which is that retail traders can trade just as well as their pro traders. And they want to look for that because they want to be able to find an opportunity to fund some traders to trade for them. So they're running a 2-month long contest. You have until the end of this month, I think August 30th, to register. And it's a demo contest, costs no money at all for you to participate. If you win, you can win $20,000 as a first place prize, real money. $10,000 second place prize, $5,000 third place prize. No, you know, this is not a contest where you win a challenge. It's a contest where you win hard-earned cash. On top of that, you can also you can also potentially get mentoring from some of their seasoned professional traders who have 7-figure P&Ls. The main wrinkle here is that you have to be in the US because they're looking to really for US traders to hire. So if you are, you know, it's a free contest to participate, definitely register for that. Also, you know, today's the last day of the Apex discount. If you want to become a member, trade with us every day, get my trade ideas, get Zip. You know, I was not feeling so well this weekend, but yeah, we had a lot of really great Zip signals. This is a Zip buy signal right over here. We're in the white candle. Zip buy signal in Euro Kiwi after the RBNZ rate decision. On Monday night, we have triple Zip sell signals, 1, 2, 3, that basically predicted this decline, and it's a much larger decline than it looks in Euro Kiwi during the Asia session, and then Euro Kiwi also during the New York session. Kiwi Swiss had similar buy signals over here, and you know, staying within the buy sell zones is also another reason why I picked Eurodollar, because Eurodollar is in the buy zone, and you know, it's important for my trades. So for me, I trade the early New York Open and also the Asia Open. The fourth way to trade news. So I talked about the first way to trade news is proactively. I did that with you today. The second way to trade news is instantly reactively. I did that with you. The third one, we're just hanging tight. We're waiting for the news candle break, and it has nothing to do with the indicators. We're just looking for the news candle break, and the 5-minute candle is the news candle. And it may happen, it may not happen. There is a time expiration to this. If it doesn't happen by 11, and I'm not going to sit with you till 11. If it doesn't happen to by, you know, 10 or 11, 10:30 or 11, you know, you've got to move on. And then the fourth way to trade this is wait for the next session, the Asia session. And I will be, you know, actually, I won't be trading with our members Asia session tonight because we don't trade ahead of inflation. We don't trade ahead of retail sales. Those are my 2 cardinal rules. So we don't trade ahead of either one of these reports. So we're going to wait till after the US retail sales report to trade. But, you know, that's basically the different ways to trade news. With this Eurodollar trade, it's now moving a little bit against us. No big deal. We made some good profits proactively, reactively. This one, we rushed it a little bit. We should have waited for the news candle break. If it gets to -10, I'm going to be out because I want to preserve our profits. So I'm now moving my stop down to 110.26. I don't want to be in this trade anymore if it goes above 110.26, because that means that we're actually above this consolidation zone, and there's a much greater chance at that stage for us to move to the top of this range than to move below it. But that's the way to trade news. I don't sit here with you guys for hours and hours to trade. When we trade news, we're in, out, done, move on with your day. And usually, you know, Bourse, we're moving to the period of the day where Bourse live trades with you, NASDAQ and gold. We can take a look at how gold is doing. Gold, so gold, you know, no surprise, a lot of volatility after the release. And, you know, gold, we initially, if we look at our 1 minute charts, you can see gold popped higher because that's what we expected. The dollar fell, gold popped higher, and then it retraced lower. And now it's just kind of jagging up and down. So we kind of follow the same principle rule of the 5 minute candle. Then the levels to watch is going to be, I mean, I would notch a low lower over here, 24.78, as well as 24.62. If we break above 24.78 or we break below 24.62, then we get the new move of the day. Right now, because I am biased to the dollar, to the upside, because I think that the market's going to move on. They're going to say exactly what I told you at the beginning of the session, which is, okay, we've got the US CPI report. Let's react to the US CPI report. And then they're going to say, wait, we've had one more non-farm payrolls. We have one more inflation report. You know, let's square up and see. And that's exactly, it's going exactly to our playbook. So when we trade, it's really, really important to have a trading plan. And I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but I will show you this. This is my Post-it, okay? I write down on my Post-it, well, if you look really closely, it says minus dollar, positive dollar. I write down on my Post-it what the pairs I want to trade. If it's a positive dollar report, the pairs I want to trade, that is a negative dollar report. And I try to do this trading, I try to have this trading plan before I really, you know, even talk to you guys. I want to have a clarity of mind. I write down my trading plan. I write down the pairs that I want to zero in on. I like to pair strong with weak. And strong with weak is really determined by fundamentals. The one currency we didn't really look at was Kiwi dollar. And that's because we already had a really big move today. But Kiwi dollar also had a very pure reaction. Right at 8:30, very easy, pure move, but it didn't, you know, necessarily have the extended moves that we had in the big moves that we had in euro dollar or in dollar yen. But trading plan, I wrote my trading plan in this Post-it. Then I talked to you all about my trading plan, and that's what's the most important thing is just have a plan and trade it. Don't come in and say, okay, it's U.S. inflation, euro dollar suddenly falls, I'm going to jump right in. That would have been a bad plan. We did get a little bit of peppers jumping in dollar yen, but we were also really, really swift because we jumped in the other way. We didn't jump in the knee-jerk way. The knee-jerk way, dollar yen crashed. That wasn't our trade, right? That was our trade proactively. And then our trade was for a dollar yen rally reactively. And that's because we had a trading plan. You and I, we talked through our trading plan before the numbers release, which is why I invited all of you to come at 8:15. When I choose to trade non-farm payrolls, come at 8:15 or 8:10 because you will walk you through it proactively. And there may be trading opportunities proactively. Don't come at 8:28, which many of you did, because, and still I shared with you, you know, what our plan was proactively and reactively, but still you need to be in early to calmly talk through the trading plan, which is sell the rumor, buy the news. That was exactly what I had predicted. That's exactly what played out. And the beginning of the week, if you join me for Monday Market Outlook, and please join me this Monday as well, I talked about how we were going to have a stronger UK jobs report and Sterling rallied yesterday. I talked about how we were going to have a RBN, the Kiwi fall, either because of a rate cut or dovish comments. And we actually got both. So it's important to have the trading plan for the week and to talk through the trading plan for the week. All right, so now I'd like to open up the floor. Any questions? You know, we're still kind of waiting for these breakout moves. I really don't think, honestly, it's going to happen at any interesting point in time. It might happen at 10:30, 11, which will be too late. I posted a video on our YouTube, a short, called Time Stops. Make sure you watch this video. And if you have not, watched my video on the election and gold, you have to, because this is such an important video. And, not enough people are watching this. US election, Trump versus Harris, who's better for gold? There's a lot of really, really good information there. So make sure you watch that. Also, in my shorts, I posted this, how time stops can save your trading. Time stops can save your trading, and so that's very applicable today too. If there's no breakout before 10:30, or even, I would be out. So to recap, we made 10 pips going long euro dollar this morning. We made 15 pips going short euro dollar yen before the number. We made another 20 pips going flipping to the long side in dollar yen after the report. And now we're so that's 45 pips. Now we're kind of hanging out with this euro dollar trade with the 10 pip stop. So I would call this a very, very good day. And that's what we do at BK. We live trade with you, and then I'll be typically looking for opportunities for the Asia session. So I invite you, if you want to interested in becoming a BK member, definitely check out the YouTube offer. Also, fundamentals course, trying to piece the dots together, talking about the 3 ways we trade news, the 4 ways we trade news. That's what I teach in my course. Today's the last day to participate in Apex's 80% off future for those of you that want to try those funded accounts. And gold, NASDAQ futures, Boris has helped our members secure more than $5 million in funding. So he'll be back with us soon, I think next week, hopefully. So there's a lot of value added from BK. And then lastly, if you're in the US, definitely check out the Gelber group and definitely click the official rules for more details, because it's an absolutely free trading contest. So let's see, questions. Why don't you trade ahead of inflation? That is exactly what we did. We traded ahead of inflation today. We made money going long euro dollar and short dollar yen. I did not trade the New York session ahead of at 6:30 a.m. because it's consolidation. We only focused on trading the news release. Normally I trade at 6:30 a.m. New York time and 8 p.m. New York time. So the New York Open and the Asia Open. And so I only traded the news proactively. Where's my target for euros? We're gonna go for, I think it's gonna, if we break to the downside, it's gonna test the figure and then maybe a little bit below it. So 20 pips is a target, but you wanna be nimble, you wanna be fast. Thank you for the inflation report trades. You're welcome. But it's not just about today's trades, right? It's about trading every day and learning the techniques. And I think the most important takeaway I hope you all have today is that we had a plan and we traded it. We talked through the plan. We talked through the scenario. We did not just say 8:30, jump in. A lot of people shy away from trading news. At BK, we excel at trading news, because we have a plan. And I laid out a very, the very clear step-by-step plan very calmly before the number was released. And we executed that plan before and after the CPI report. Asia sessions when I'm sleeping, well, I still benefit without that. I trade the New York session, so you can still trade the New York session with me. And Boris also live trades, and you also have access to my zip indicator where, if you look at the trades, some of these trades happen during the European session, and there's continuation during the European session. Like this trade here in Euro Kiwi really didn't get going until midnight or 1 a.m. my time. My best trades are during the Asia session, and there's no doubt about it. I won't kid you on that, but it's because I lay on these trades like over here. And when you wake up in the European session at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., it's still going to be a valid trade. What time should I trade the news? Well, Rodney, we talked about this, where there's 4 opportunities. 1, which is right before the data, which is what we did today. 2, right after the data. 3, we're still waiting for this 5-minute candle break. 4 is the next session, Asia. So that is what the opportunity is. Dollar yen should continue lower. Am I correct? Very good question. So let's take a look at this. Dollar yen obviously rebounded. We have US retail sales tomorrow, which I also think is going to be weaker. But dollar yen's consolidating. And we, if we bring in the moving averages, you will see that we're consolidating, and the real levels to watch is going to be 148 and 146. I think Lien has a greater chance of testing the top of the range due to lack of data than the bottom of the range. Ultimately, yes, I think Lien should be headed lower, but I don't think that would happen this week. I think that we could move to the top of the range, maybe even test to the upside. How do I level up trading gold using equities, inflation, and Eurodollar? Fantastic question. Really good question that I cover a lot in my videos. And I would even just go most popular. Okay. Top 3 gold trading tips, that's going to have the answer for you, as well as 3 ways to trade gold. I show you the relationship between gold using equities, inflation, and Eurodollar. My views on the NASDAQ after the inflation report. I mean, look, stock futures are still flat, right? Nothing's happening. NASDAQ's rallying. NASDAQ's breaking out to the upside above the 20 and the 100 simple moving average. My first knee-jerk reaction is to see, are we near a fib level? Not quite yet. Sorry, I did not draw that perfectly, but you get the gist of that. And then we're going to draw it from a slightly longer term perspective. And I don't think, nope. So yes, basically, there are no fibs in front of NASDAQ until, no resistance, until about 19,300 and change. So NASDAQ looks like it could rally, because if you think about it, regardless, the Fed is definitely going to lower interest rates by 25 basis points. Let's see how CME Fed Fund futures changed. Let's see. CME Fed Fund futures yesterday was at 47% of quarter point move, 53% of a 50 basis point move. So the odds have now moved in favor of a 0.25% because, like I said, the number wasn't terrible, right? The headline number is still stronger. CPI year over year is moving down. Doesn't necessitate a really, really aggressive move. So, but still, easing is coming. And I think, that supports the NASDAQ for sure. Is VK trading the Asia session ahead of inflation? So, very good question. I always talk about how it's important to know when to trade and when not to trade. And there are certain pieces of data I never trade ahead of in the session beforehand. And why? It's not because I'm just making this up. There needs to be a reason behind the strategy, right? It's because typically ahead of these big releases, the market is just waiting and it's consolidating. And I trade momentum and breakout. Any breakouts end up being fake outs. And that's exactly what because everyone's just waiting for the news. And that's basically what we had here. If you kind of ignore all of this, basically, if we came in at 6:30 this morning, what did Euro do? 6:30, we're over here. Before the number, we're over here. This is what? This low here is 18. The high here is 25. So it's a 7 pip range. That is the reason why we don't trade ahead of the release, because it's not going to give us the momentum that we want. So tonight, normally I would trade, but one of the things I don't trade is the US retail sales report. And tonight we have the US retail sales report. So I don't trade ahead of US inflation, US retail sales, FOMC, ECB, and NFPs, and the first release of GDP. And that's it. Aside from that, we trade every day ahead of every session. But tomorrow we have US retail sales, so we're not going to trade tonight, but we will trade Thursday. For BK traders, we'll be looking for opportunities after retail sales tomorrow, reactively like we did today, and then we'll trade also the Asia session for the rest of the week. So for our BK traders, we lay out our trading plan in the beginning of the week and our schedule, and we're sticking to it. Any other questions? Okay, as I said, I am going to drop, and for those of you, that are interested in Gelber Group's contest, definitely check out here. Look at the official rules for more details. US traders only, but this is a pretty great contest. And we have, you know, if you want to become a BK trader, you know, I have an offer for you to save. And then we've got our fundamentals course, and today's the last day to save 80% off with a futures prop account. And for me, I'm just going to look at pretty much, you know, this euro dollar trade. This is the only one in the levels. I would actually be out. I'm happy with our 45 pips that we've made. And I think we will be just kind of out. And then just wait to see if these levels break at the New York Open, or definitely before 10:30 a.m. New York time. If it's after 10:30, it's going to be more of a fake out than a breakout. And I talk a lot about how London close is a very has a very unique personality, and one that's tradable, and one that teaches us lessons to close our breakout trades before that, because fakeouts are more likely than breakouts. But that's for another day. That lessons for another day, another session. I thank you all for joining me today. I hope you made some money. I hope you understood how I think about live trading news. And I really, really encourage you to, you know, watch these gold videos. The most popular ones are most popular for a reason. And the election's coming up. Not enough people have watched this video. It's really, really good. I put a lot of hard work into this on the US election, and whether Trump or Harris victory would be better for gold, or whether it matters, and the charts to kind of back that. So make sure you watch, you know, those videos. And if you aren't a subscriber of our channel already, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit the notifications button for updates. Thank you all for joining me this morning. Have a great day. As I said, NASDAQ, yes, 19,300 is where I think the resistance level is in for NASDAQ. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day, my friends, and come to our Monday market outlook. I'm gonna put up the new event. We created a plan for the week. This week, we followed our plan, we traded the plan, and that is what makes us so successful, which is you have a plan, you trade the plan. It sounds easier than it is, but if you don't have a plan, it's just a disaster. All right, have a great day. Thank you all so much, and I appreciate you joining me today.